I'd like to introduce you to Faithlife Study Bible to offer an overview of this excellent resource, which is freely available to one and all and should prove especially helpful to those teaching religion in our schools, whether primary or secondary college. So Faithlife Study Bible is available at bible.faithlife.com. You'll need to sign up for an account, and you may well then end up getting lots of email offers to buy other products from Logos, which is the Bible software that's installable, that's connected to this. Never fear, you don't actually have to buy anything, and it's easy enough to change your email subscriptions so that you aren't bombarded by marketing materials. So Faithlife Study Bible is a web app, firstly, and I'd like to, when I'm talking you through, describe this area here as the left pane, this as the right pane, and then I'll occasionally refer to the far left. So just so that you're aware of which parts of the screen I'm talking about. So Faithlife Study Bible comes with a number of different biblical translations. I have up here the Good News translation, which is the translation that we often use with our students in primary school, or for those who struggle a little bit with literacy. I don't think it's the best translation, but nevertheless, it's one that is helpful for people reading through the text without the highest level of literacy. Some of the other translations that are available through Faithlife include the NRSV, NRSV, and so that's a more technically accurate translation. Well, similarly, you could say that about the ESV, more technically accurate translation. My problem with using those in this Faithlife Study Bible is that they are both red letter Bibles, which means when you get to the words of Jesus, the words of Jesus start appearing in red, which I find incredibly distracting. And I also think that it's theologically a bit odd to completely separate out the words of Jesus from the rest of the Gospels. So I find it unusual. They're popular amongst a certain group of Christians, but it would not be my preferred way to either understand the biblical text, and definitely not my preferred way to read the text. So I'll just stick to having the Good News version online. So I'll just go up and I can type in Good News. Doesn't have an abbreviated version here. So and we can put that one back up there. So, and each of these versions of the Bible basically matches a printed version of the Bible. And so what you'll find is the chapter heading or a section heading. So exactly the same as when you're reading through the scriptures. And then if you open up one of the older translations, like maybe one of the King James, it may not have these section headings. And it can be interesting just to look at the different names that are given to the different sections and how they're broken down between Bibles. This Good News translation also has available here the parallel passages, and that was similarly true for the NRSV, had the parallel passages listed up above, so that the same story of the call of the four fishermen is found not just in Mark chapter 1 verse 14 forward, but in Matthew chapter 4 verse 12 forward, and Luke halfway through chapter 4, and then at the beginning of chapter 5. And one of the wonderful things about this version of online version of the Bible and the attached study Bible is that any time that there's something that's hyperlinked, such as these verses, you don't have to click on it. You can just hover over it, and what will pop up is the actual verse. I need to clear my box there. But so you don't actually have to go to Matthew 4 to read it. You can just hover over the link and you'll see it. Similarly, you could go to Luke 5, chapter 1 to 11, and read your way through Luke's account of the call of the first disciples. Similarly, when you're in the study Bible and you're reading about the baptism of Jesus, and it tells you that this connects Jesus to, I'll just show you with the pointer where I am. I'm over here. This connects Jesus to Isaiah 42:1. So if we just hover over that, it will actually bring up that verse from Isaiah 42 for us to read. So, you're not hunting back and forward through the Bible or through a study Bible as you would normally need to do. Everything is, it's available to you in line or on hover. Over on the far left, there's the Go box, which enables you to put in a passage. Mark 2, and it will take everything to Mark 2, chapter 2, and you'll see that the Faithlife Study Bible moves at the same time as the biblical text. So you can sort of use that. I tend not to do that. I tend to go up to the actual area up the top, and I tend to use the abbreviations, MK for Mark, JN for John. So I was wanting to go to Luke chapter 4. I just type Luke 4, and I could go there, and it would move everything to that. Over on that far left side, in that far left pane, you have direct access to the immediate resources. So the Study Bible would always then return the right-hand pane to the Study Bible. This app comes with over 400 infographics, maps, photos, and videos. The infographics are really something quite special, and they're worth familiarizing yourself with ahead of time. You will find them referred to in line in the study Bibles, and we'll see that later on. But you don't always know, you can't always remember exactly where it's being referred to. And and if you just want to, find an image of a first century fishing boat, and that that's available, you can just go to infographics, click on first century fishing boat, and there up comes the wonderful infographics with lots of information around a comparison to other vehicles. And if you click on that, it will open it in another tab from which you can then copy and paste. And even a right click will allow you just to copy that image and then paste it into PowerPoint or Google Slides. So you have this wonderful array of infographics. The program also comes with some sensational maps and quite a lot of them, which again are referenced in line at different points within the study Bible. But if you know which ones are there, you can sort of easily enough scroll your way through. They're not directly in chronological order, but you could then find the map for Paul's first and second missionary journeys. It'll pop up eventually. This is a very large image, and you would be able to right-click and copy that image. You're not seeing my pop-up there, but it does actually pop up a menu there with a right-click. So some fabulous maps. I'm not as convinced about the value of the images, and you'll see one of the problems with how I'm doing this is that it's keeping one of those pop-ups there. So I'm just going to refresh my browser and go back to resource and go back to images, so I don't get that little FSBI. But for example, if you're wanting to know what a circular stone at the entry to a tomb looks like, that is here in the study Bible. So quick click, and there's a stone tomb closure close-up. So a close-up of a closure from a garden tomb that's in Jerusalem from the time of Jesus. And I'd have the same opinion of the videos as I have of the images. I'm not really sure of the great value of these few videos that are there. Your students may find them helpful. Then we have the Lexan Bible Dictionary. The Lexan Bible Dictionary is a really extraordinary resource of over 7,000 articles written by 70 plus authors. It's 4.5 million words. They're really in-depth articles about every topic to do with the Bible. So the last time I had it open, it was to John the Baptist. So that's just opened up. But I could type in, I want to know something about the Pharisees, and I can just directly type in Pharisees there, and it'll open up an excellent article on the Pharisees. I think I was looking at food the other day, and there was an article on food. So there's a fantastic article there on food in the ancient Near East. So for the whole biblical story, the Old Testament time, and in the time of Jesus. A really quite incredible article about grain and oil and wine and other food products and trade, pulses, legumes, vegetables, meat. So really quite incredible article on food at the time of Jesus. So a little bit there on historical variation by time period. So quite incredible. So to go back to the study Bible, and I'll take us back to Mark chapter 1. The study Bible comes with 3 levels of notes. So on any particular verse, it will have notes on the key words and phrases of the verse and the key thoughts. There are then little plus signs. And if you click on the plus sign, it will then open up another layer of note if you want to read a little bit more in depth. And then there are also other links as you go on to other articles, and that's the third layer. So they might be underneath, so that an article on John the Baptist, and it will take you to an article within Faithlife Study Bible to John the Baptist. And if you read your way through that briefer article, it will then even in that case give you access to direct access then to the Lexan Bible Dictionary article on John the Baptist. And with just a click, you're there. And then we can go back to the study Bible eventually. And you see the study Bible takes us back to that article on John the Baptist. If I want to get back to the passage I was studying, just scroll the Bible and the study Bible moves together with the Bible itself. So can sometimes get a bit frustrating. You get a little bit lost, but there's no way to unlink those two panes when you have the Bible open in the left and the study Bible on the right. The Faithlife Study Bible comes with itself an enormous number of articles. So I'll just take you to those through the table of contents and show you those. So go to table of contents, and after each book of the Bible, down the bottom, you'll find that there's a glossary. So the glossary offers a 1 or 2 sentence description of these key terms. And so there's a number of those, and they'll be linked to in the study Bible, not all the time, but often enough. So there's a very good glossary of biblical words. Go back to that table of contents. And then there are the sidebar articles. And those sidebar articles, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 types of sidebar articles. So there are the overviews, the formation of the New Testament, the formation of the Old Testament, the pastoral letters, the Pentateuch, the first 5 books of the Old Testament. So overviews of biblical poetry. So those overviews are there. There's then the individual book introduction. So for each book of the 66-book Protestant canon of the Bible, there is an introduction. And so we saw that linked from the start of the Gospel according to Mark. And the introduction to Mark includes a bit of background, something on the structure of the Gospel account, an outline of the account of the Gospel, and key themes in the Gospel according to Mark. And it then offers some further reading, so a thematic reading on women in the Gospel according to Mark, and then the much more in-depth Lexan Bible Dictionary article on the Gospel according to Mark. Go back to that table of contents, close those book introductions. There are context studies, so this is where in text you'll be referred to these, some articles that connect to the background to the Bible, that provide that broader historical, socio-historical context to understanding the Scriptures, Old and New Testament. So at the time of Abraham, eunuchs in the Bible, the fool in Proverbs. There's a whole lot of different articles that are referred to as you read through the study Bible. There's then some themes on Jesus as wisdom, justice, the Lord's Supper, the miracles of Jesus, and then some individual word studies, probably ones you'd find least helpful, but euangelion is good news, is gospel. Funnily enough, this little study sidebar is not referred to in Mark 1, chapter 1, where it does talk about the good news, the gospel of Jesus Christ, but there is a word study on the word euangelion, good news. Back to the table of contents again. And there are then a number of tables available. And a lot of these link to some of what we teach in our curriculum, such as Jesus's I am statements or Israelite festivals in the Israelite calendar. So you hit the Israelite festivals and you have the name of the feast, or even the different names. The Feast of Pentecost is also the Feast of Weeks or the Harvest Feast. Tabernacles is the Feast of Booths or Sukkoth. We have when the feast occurs according to the Hebrew calendar, and then where it is referred to in the Old Testament or the New Testament. Hovering over that would bring up those verses. So the Feast of First Fruits, here's where it's called for in the book of Leviticus. So you have easy access to that. It's really quite extraordinary. So go back again to we're already in the study Bible. We go back to the verse from Mark chapter 1. We'll scroll down a little bit there, and you can see how images and videos are included in the study Bible as Jesus enters into Capernaum. He preaches in the synagogue at Capernaum. Well, there's reconstruction of an ancient synagogue based on excavations. What I really love is if you get to sort of like Jesus healing the paralytic, you have a whole lot of explanation about this and removing the roof to lower the paralytic in, and there in text is a first century house. And you can learn something about how people lived just by the structure of their house, with the eating and sleeping upstairs, the sun roof, the sun deck on the roof, and downstairs cooking, storage, and the animals slept inside at night. So that's a typical first century Israelite house. And that really does help you to understand and to see that story as it's told of the paralytic man who's lowered through the roof of the house to where Jesus is meeting with people in their downstairs courtyard. So it's a wonderful resource that's available to you to help you to study and to understand the world of the Bible, the world of the individual texts, and to help you then maybe to start to draw connections to our world today. I hope that was helpful.